Hi, I'm Nick LeBarry, movie critic for Nova Stream Network.
And I'm Georja Malt, founder of With G Digital and lover of literature.
And welcome to The Book Was Better, a monthly podcast which involves Georgia and myself, in which we read a popular novel, watch the film that the book was adapted into, and discuss the age-old debate, what was better, the book or the film. And this month, we have a very special pick from Georja Malt here. Before we get into that, obviously, thank you all for watching on YouTube. If you are watching Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, still haven't found out what iHeartRadio is from the last episode.
So we're on there, and some of you are listening.
And we thank you for it, very, very much so. And thank you all for listening to the last episode, Fight Club, where we delved into a little bit of darker territory. But I think the spirits will be, if you were downed by Fight Club last month, I think your spirits may be lifted a little bit this week. But Georgia, this month was your pick. Why don't you tell us what we're cracking into today?
So today we'll be talking about red, white and royal blue. So this has been a bit of a sensation in the book talk world.
Fucking even in the movie talk world, recently it has taken by storm. So.
Yeah. So if you, I actually hadn't read it,
right,
which is unusual for me because it's romance, which is like a huge genre for me to be into.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing was I just felt books like, 50 Shades or, Twilight or any of those. It's like I kind of have put myself in the situation of the female lead. And obviously I'm straight. So that was my fantasy.
That's your go-to. That's your romance. Right. It's like the trashy book that you want to read that you can be like.
But you put yourself in the shoes of the protagonist. So when I sort of saw
Fight
this.
Club was mine. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, I was like, I certainly hope not. But yeah, when I saw this, I think I thought it'd be cute and I thought I would ship them, but I just didn't sort of rush to read it because I guess
There's lots of books to read. Georja Malt's got a lot of books to read.
Got a lot of books, not a lot of time.
Not a lot of time to do it.
And and I just knew it was so popular though.
Right.
Because I had seen it on TikTok.
Yes.
And I'll talk about how I felt about it, but
yeah, we both will.
Spoilers, I loved it.
Okay. It is great. I got a message from Georgia before recording. He's like, I can't believe I made you read this.
I was just
book.
laughing in some sections of this, being like, picturing you sitting there reading it and being like, this is hilarious. But and I'm not alone. So with videos on TikTok that use the hashtag red, white and royal blue,
right?
What do you think the views are?
Overall. Talking it up, if I'm looking at those view counts and it's like those top 3 videos, I'm thinking like couple of million, like 5 to 10 million on those top sort of, okay, go on, tell me what.
780 million.
My God.
It is huge on BookTok.
It's actually like a phenomenon, right?
It is. And, it was when it first came out in 2019. So it was really popular. It got on the New York bestsellers list pretty quickly. Okay. But then...
Is this her first book, Casey McQuiston?
I believe it is. I'm not 100% sure though. But she did say that she wanted to write something different. Like she loved the romance genre. And the romance industry is $1 billion industry.
Oh, God. Oh, man. Huge. You walk into Kmart and they have a whole section dedicated to these books.
Yeah. But...
whether they're New York Times bestsellers or not.
In terms of phenomenons, the ones that have a gay couple, there's not many that I initially
Do you know what? It's funny you say that because in talking briefly about the film as well, I was like, even in gay films, a lot of the biggest Hollywood ones, when you look at it recently, have been Brokeback Mountain, which came out almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Love, Simon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These mainstream Hollywood ones, and we had Bros and Fire Island last year. Similar to, don't know if it's the same in the books, or probably similar to the books. A lot of the gay romance stories are in those smaller, more niche sort of
nothing
outlets,
to be so a phenomenon
totally.
in, just to this scale.
Totally,
that this book is.
Right.
And, I think she did a great job. Personally.
Look, for what the book is, I will agree, but we will definitely
talk about that later.
Break it on down.
Yeah, so it's just been a huge success.
It's just massive.
People love it. People love them. And I'm guessing that it was the popularity of the book that led it to be adapted.
Well, I'm guessing so because, even still with that, the movie, right, Amazon purchased the rights to before the book came out, a month before it came out.
Oh, surely it wouldn't be a first one then.
I feel like they would have, maybe they just knew they had a hit on their hands. Maybe they just knew.
That's some good... That's good
foresight is what we call that. But I feel like the same thing, and I'm not on TikTok, so I'm not up to date with what all the cool kids are up to. I'm pretty hipster. I'm pretty indie. I wear real fun shirts.
Yeah. Are you also in Slytherin? Like, is that your house?
I may have fired up Hogwarts Legacy and played a little Slytherin. Who knows? I did. But I'm cool. I'm not like the other hipsters.
You're not like everyone else.
I'm not like all those other ones. The movie, right? When the trailer first got out, so I didn't even know first. I feel like I knew it was a book because, as with most of the books that we use on this show, this is Rhiannon's copy. I feel like that's the only thing I knew that it existed because she was like, "Oh, it's this fun book I'm going to read," and it kind of sat on the shelf for a year or so. And
she's also a busy gal.
She's a busy gal. Doesn't read as much as us literary nerds, but she does. She dabbles. And I had no idea this was getting made to a movie. And then the trailer dropped, and it blew up. Like Instagram and Twitter, and obviously because I follow a lot of movie-related accounts, everyone was posting about it. Oh my God, I can't believe this is actually happening. I'm so excited to watch it. And I was like, what is everyone talking about? And I obviously looked it up and I was like, oh, cool. Like, it's just, for me, I was like, it's like a Hallmarky romance movie. Sure, cool, fine. I had no idea how deep this rabbit hole goes with red, white, and royal blue. But so Amazon financed it and financed the distribution of it because obviously it came out in Prime this weekend. And Berlanti Productions were overseeing the production of the film. Greg Berlanti, who owns Berlanti Productions, is the director of Love, Simon. So
makes sense.
He actually has a wide variety. He does a lot in the CW Warner Brothers universes and stuff. So he did like The Flash and Arrow and stuff. But obviously he hasn't directed too many films, but he's produced this one and he directed Love, Simon. So the correlation of gay romance, or as we'll break down as well, bisexual romance, is sort of his forte. But the film itself is directed by Matthew Lopez, and it's his directorial debut as well. So there's a lot of first-time things going on with this. He's a playwright, off-Broadway playwright who has pretty established career. So he co-wrote the script and directed the film. Now, we're talking about its release. Came out on... So this episode is dropping on a Monday. It came out the Friday before it came out, right? And we watched it a little bit early. Thank you, Amazon.
VIP.
Thanks, Amazon. Big fans of the show, Amazon, I've heard. And we watched it a couple of days. So we saw it without seeing any reviews. Like, we didn't know what the hype was. And then the review embargo dropped on Friday. And it's at an 80% critic score and a 94% audience score. And people are loving this movie. It is like,
I'm not surprised.
Like the movie talk now, the phenomenon is like huge. And I feel like more people are going to see or read the book now because of it as well.
Yeah.
Despite there being significant changes in the film compared to the book. Big time.
Changes.
I was watching the movie and I was like, I'd probably read about 75% of the book. I was like 3/4 of the way through. And I'm like watching the movie and I felt lost again because I was like, they're changing so. I was like, this person's not in it and we haven't started here.
Yeah.
Just shows how much structure I need in my life.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not computing.
I'm not understanding. But it was interesting to me. I think that I can understand why people are loving the film. And I think people will gravitate towards the book and find some new life in it as well. So
yeah, I totally agree. Very exciting.
Had you finished the book before watching the movie?
No, I actually hadn't this time.
Yes.
I did I mixed it up. So I did 50% of the book, watched the film, and then did the other 50.
We did
which
have a
was
limited,
a weird.
I know. We had a limited window to watch the movie.
This one, guys.
we smashed through this one. I was very proud of how quick I read this book. I read this faster than Fight Club, and it's double the length. So.
Yeah, and just so not your genre.
No. It's absolutely not my genre. I'm a sucker for romantic films. Yeah. What I'm probably not a sucker for is what I would call like Hallmark movies.
And it's a bit too sugary for you.
It's a bit too sugary. I want sad romance. Yeah. I want authentic romance. Yeah. No, I don't.
It's like
mind
every time you like pitched a story to me, like a script idea. And you're like, I just don't know how to end it. And I provide this really beautiful.
Oh my God, this actually really happened.
Beautiful ending for you. And then
like,
you're like, hey, G, I've been workshopping it, by the way. And also everyone dies and no one's ever happy
No
again.
one's happy.
And I'm like, wow.
I remember this.
Not what I was going for.
I genuinely remember sending that script to you. Oh my God.
And I was like, so I'm not surprised.
I'm not a pessimistic guy, but hey, sometimes sadness is fun. Not with Red, White. This has been a tongue twister for me all week, by the way. Rhiannon's like, when are you doing the podcast? I'm like, well, you want for Red, White, Blue. That's what it sounded like all fucking week. Red, White, and Royal Blue. I forgot the point. I just remembered how stupid I am. The movie itself, very hallmarky, but I totally understand why audiences are eating it up.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to, like I said, I don't mind sappy movies. I like romance movies. I didn't have a great time with this.
I'm not surprised.
But
I'm not surprised.
There are elements of it that I really, really did. I think that they did well from the book. There's also elements they added that I did really enjoy.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Rhiannon liked it. Yeah. So I'm a winner for getting it early.
That's an audience, test, like a
it's
your
the
target
litmus,
audience.
right? Exactly. I'm sitting there and be like, if she enjoys this, it's a win.
Yeah, 100%.
So in regards to book and film and chicken and egg and whatnot, what were your initial thoughts after finishing the book, finishing the movie? Where do you sit at the moment before we break it down?
You know what? It's so strange because I felt like I had very different reactions to both. Like, loved both, but like you're kind of saying, like for different elements. And there's actually some elements about the movie that I actually enjoyed more than the book.
Yeah.
But then there was some parts of the book that I obviously liked the extra detail that we got, or I liked the more intimate moments, I guess, that we were privy to. But I don't know, very mixed up.
Are you a bit of, is it sort of on the fence about specific moments or tone or?
Well, I guess if we start talking about,
Yeah.
like an example, something that I loved in the book that didn't make it into the movie is their connection over Star Wars. I thought... I mean, you're a Star Wars boy.
Is it maybe my favourite part of the book? Potentially, yeah.
Didn't mean to steal it, mate. I had a feeling you would have liked that.
No, I was happy with that.
But I mean, I love all the pop culture references. Like, it feels like such a modern, relevant book.
It's very modern. It's very relevant. It's so true. It doesn't, I don't think it's trying to date itself in that way. It's just literally talking how people would talk about pop culture now.
Yeah.
And the inclusion of Star Wars did win me over.
Yeah, so basically Alex has this idea of Henry as being this very up himself prince who's very posh and boring.
They've had a few bad early interactions because Alex is the son of the President of the United States. So there is forced international relations at events, at shindigs.
I couldn't have put it better myself. That's exactly what's going on.
Well, you know, as a man who's now well versed in how royalty works, I thought I'd just take that one. Alex is not a fan of Henry, I guess.
No, which I think part of that comes from being like borderline a bit obsessed with him. Like,
yes.
What's the word when it's not
like infatuated?
No. When you're not subconsciously obsessed and
it's
fascinated.
tickling out in the back of the mind.
He's never going to admit it, but it's there.
Which is a very big Alex character trait, by the way. He is as stubborn as he is enthusiastic as he is like go-getter sort of guy. I really liked Alex. I think the casting of him in the film is great.
Yeah.
But he is great in that weirdly insufferable way. You are really, you seem like a great guy. Just pipe the fuck down a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, no. I don't know. He was well, that's what Henry, it's like even Henry in the interviews when they're talking about being friends and he says
that scene in the movie was fucking great,
that was awesome. So there's just, both ways. There's so much stuff. But anyway, the two kind of bond for the first time, realizing that they both like Star Wars and it really makes Alex realize he's kind of a bit more normal than maybe he...
Not the uppity prince that he comes across as.
Exactly. And it kind of carries on through the books and has themes at the end and it comes back around, which obviously the movie just kind of culled that.
Big time. And not that I didn't like the movie because of that, but I definitely didn't feel like... I didn't believe the connection as much in the movie because of that. And like you say, every episode, it's because the book has the opportunity to flesh it out, right? Yeah. And I think it works better in the book's favor.
I feel the love
Yes.
even more in the book.
Agreed.
I feel the lust in the movie.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I loved it. I was like screaming. I was like, I'm so into this.
Let's talk about that, because this is what I would probably confidently say is a sexy movie.
Oh, it's spicy.
It's got spicy.
That's what we say in the
in the book talk world.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's spicy.
Spice level.
Apologies, everyone. Spice to me is from June, and it's a drug. So I mean, in the same way.
Oh, true.
There we go.
Well, I'm addicted to the spice.
I'm addicted to that spice. This is a little raunch fest, and I think I firstly want to point out that the montage hookup scene is fucking brilliant. It is so funny, but it is also, I'm like, oh, I'm getting why these guys are like real hot and heavy on each other. The music, the song was fucking brilliant too.
Yeah, they did it so well.
And the scene that everyone loves talking about in the book, that I've now done my research, the blowjob in the stable at the polo event is done quite well in the film. It's not as raunchy as people are gonna think it's gonna be adapted into, but it's played in like a real coy comedic way, and I was like, I like the way they did that.
It was like real.
Would you say that's it's hard because like I agree with you that like the sex in the book is actually quite nice, like you know, and that's not to say the sex in the movie isn't nice, but their first like proper lovemaking scene is pretty intense, and it's got raunch to it, but there's still that feeling. There's this real intimate feeling to it that I think the book does a lot better. But I kind of praise it for like still Hollywooding it up a bit.
Yeah.
Because the number one thing is going to be like, you can't just stick the dick in there without prepping. It's like, sure, but we've had hundreds of years of Hollywood cinema of like, no one's prepared for sex as much as they are in a Hollywood film. Yeah. It's all glammed up. And I appreciate the movie for doing that as well.
Yeah.
For being like, this is a glamorized version of lovemaking, and it just happens to be two guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas,
I just think that it felt so natural. And
it did.
And you know
totally
what?
did.
I think like the movie, some movies that try to have this inclusivity about them feel so forced
when
and
it's not genuine.
But
when it's
every
very
bit of
non-authentic.
inclusivity in this just felt really natural and genuine,
especially
to me.
for like the world it's based in. Like it's still and it's obviously like a real world, but everyone is living in this like hallmark. Like I'm going to keep using hallmark, and it might not be the right word to use, but it's like this heightened world where romance is the be all and end all, like lust and romance and love and
like, so you're
and
saying maybe in real life, so just say it was real life and this kind of scandal broke out between two boys of this situation. You don't think that the American people would maybe be as understanding, or the president wouldn't have
you'd have your people who are understanding, and you'd have your people who are wrong.
I think the book does allude, because obviously they say this is a big deal. Like this could lose me being gay, could lose my mum her presidency.
And I think I think the way the book deals with it is completely fine as well. It's still just like in this like rose tinted world of like
they're not choosing to focus on those people.
Totally, exactly. It's like the world. Imagine the world if everyone was just able to be nice and inclusive. But it doesn't. But again, it doesn't feel disingenuous with the book or the film.
I know what you mean, though. It definitely
is
focusing on more the acceptance
it's still a romantic comedy at the end of the day. It doesn't and
it's not going to go too heavy with like hate crimes
exactly
or anything like that.
And like with like hetero relationship romantic comedies, it's the exact same thing. Like not everything is as lovey-dovey in real life as it seems, and that's what I think I appreciate about the film is that it was like, let's lean in to the rom-com elements of it and, you know, have fun with it. And it totally does. And that's why it feels so campy and heightened and loving.
It does. It's fun.
And the book does that too. Like the book is fun. Like it doesn't really shy away. There are some themes it deals with, especially with a certain character who's kind of, I don't think was in the film. Raphael?
No,
Raphael was cut from the movie.
Raphael Luna was cut.
Yeah.
Raphael Luna was cut. His sister June was cut.
Yeah, weird.
Miguel, the journalist, was added in. And Catherine, Henry's mother, is mentioned but not
really there.
Present. Like, whereas in the book,
and Nora's kind of shafted in the movie
Nora's
as well.
Very shafted, but do you know who got to stay? The noisy turkey.
Hey, and you know what? I wouldn't have had it any other way. No.
And we also swapped a queen for a king.
Yes,
Stephen Fry.
Okay, we'll talk about that scene now we're here, because I love the fact that they use Stephen Fry as the homophobic king.
Yeah.
Stephen Fry, who was a very openly gay man in real life,
I
to
think
come
he
in
felt
and
it
be
was
like,
an important role. So he wanted to be involved.
And when he popped up, like similar to your reaction, I love Stephen Fry as well. And it's actually a really nice scene. In the book, it is so well written.
Yeah.
Like the way they converse with the Queen in the book and just sort of like the plea from Henry about like how much he loves Alex is really sweet. And I do think, despite perhaps the actor who plays Henry not being great throughout the whole movie, that was his best scene. That was his best scene. I'm just going to put that out there.
It's so funny you say that because Olivia wasn't sure on Alex at the start as an actor and then warmed up to him.
I was the same though. I thought it was too much to start with.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
sort of
oh
got
no,
used
this
to
is
it.
Alex.
Yeah.
I was like, after reading more of the book, I was like, this is definitely Alex.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I something when because obviously the monarchy is not thrilled that Henry's gay. They sort of knew, but they sort of talk a lot about keeping up these traditional standards. Like it's all about tradition to like, you know, and it's kind of like, well, tradition for the sake of it. What's the point of that? Which I think
totally,
you know, and anyway, sort of kind of comes around, but it's going to be a difficult road for them post book, but.
Well, yeah. And the funny thing is that we don't really find out much of what happens in it. But apparently, I read this, and I don't know if you know this, in the book, in the special edition of the book, there's an extra chapter where they've written from Henry's perspective a couple of years later about the relationships and professional lives that they're in.
And they're
at
still
that
together.
point. I don't know. I didn't want to spoil it, but I just read that there was an extra chapter, so we might find out. We might find out. But I like again that romantic comedy sort of vibe that they're going for. I like that everything is good by the end of the film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wraps it up so nicely. The other thing is that going back to what you were saying earlier about like feeling a little bit different about how you felt about the book and the movie separately, right? I think a lot of that comes down to tone for me because of the way the book deals with certain things. So like I said, it's still a spicy book. It has its spicy moments, but it does feel more like a book that is trying to make you fall in love with Alex and Henry. Whereas the movie is being like, here they are, how cute are they, don't you love this? And it works, don't get me wrong, it doesn't diminish the fact that it is still a fun movie.
I felt more like giddiness in the movie because of that, which is like completely because the movie is so extra sharp on their relationship.
Oh my God,
and that's for the sake of time, and you've got to feel connected. So that's why all these characters got like.
And it's still a 2-hour movie. Like they
Yeah.
use up that time, but even the way it's like it's shot really like there's real bright lights everywhere, and it's the color. It's very colorful. The iconic scene from the book and the film is the cake dropping is done in such a ridiculous way. And I love that they use, I even wrote down the song because I was like, this is from fucking 2001 A Space Odyssey. The Blue Danube. So if you don't know where that song's from and you haven't watched the film yet, you're a Simpsons fan, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When Homer is in the space station and he's eating the chips, that's the same song. It's from 2001 A Space Odyssey. Well, it's not from that, but that's what
I know what you mean.
But it's this epic orchestral over-the-top music.
That was really good, actually.
And the way they shoot that scene is just so ridiculously comedic, which it is. It's a stupid premise. Like, they get in trouble because they knock over a $75,000 cake. It looked like a $75,000 in the film.
Poor
It
people
like,
of England getting taxed for that cake.
Hey, and you know what?
Pip's cake.
I was going to say, long live the king, right? That's why we do it. So yeah, there's all these ridiculous elements in the movie that are just shot in such an absurdly heightened way that again adds to that tone that I wasn't necessarily visualizing in the book. So I was still
even
having
the quick
fun.
makeout scene and even the blowjob scene at the hocky game, how they had like the asses bouncing on the,
That's right.
the hockey game. You know what I mean? The polo match. Sports fan here.
Go Sports.
Yes, go Sports. And like just the bouncing on the horse and stuff. Like it was all like very fun and like
exactly. And again, it's just harping on that point of like it is doing what it needed to do trope wise to be a romantic comedy. But then I guess jumping into some of the more serious things in the book, like we said, the character who's omitted from the film, who has probably the biggest impact on how things unravel in the story in regards to like Alex and Henry's relationship being outed to the media is Raphael Luna, right?
Yeah.
Who is a mentor to Alex in the book in a political way. And actually, we'll talk about that later as well as like how they treat Alex as
political focus in the book, like more like in
totally. Yeah. And Raphael's gay as well. And
Mexican as well.
And then they find out, or I can't remember if he tells them or if they just find out that Raphael has ended up actually being on the opposition election team, right? So like
Which was
against
a shock to Alex.
it was a shock to Alex. It felt like it was like a bit of a betrayal,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, because he, was going against this person who was going against his mum who's up for re-election. And then through that opposition election team, they have emails and the documents and photos that expose Alex and Henry. And Alex believes it's Raphael who does it and confronts him about it. And then we find out that Raphael only joined this team. I can't remember the politician's name.
Senator Richards.
Senator Richards, that's right.
Yeah.
Senator Richards joins his team to expose Richards because he sexually assaulted him when he was young. So it's this really...
And the whole time Richards is like that classic conservative opponent who's
super.
like, are you voting for someone who withholds traditional American values?
Totally,
And
yeah.
blah, blah,
Super
blah.
conservative.
Yeah.
And obviously the big climactic re-election battle is for Texas, of course, where Richards comes from as well. So I don't know how you feel. Okay, so how did you feel about that section of the book? Or did you find that was the drama you were looking for? Did you think it was executed well?
I thought it felt lazy in the movie, like a bit.
Yeah.
It was just like, but I also, the pragmatist in me understands why they did it because it just lent more time to focus on Alex and Henry.
Totally, yeah.
But in the book, I liked it a lot better.
I did too.
Because it was just more, it just added layers and it also made it feel like more of a political book.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
The movie doesn't feel overly political to me.
No, absolutely not.
Whereas
And
the book felt more like there was a bit more
Which is
information on.
probably the biggest issue with the film is that all this love story stuff happens and that fantastic scene then with Henry having to explain to Stephen Fry's character about his love and stuff. And then we get this like 15-minute like Succession election night sort of vibe, like obviously not as like intense as Succession, but it's like we got to win Texas and this is what we're going to do to win Texas. And we really only see in that scene Alex's political prowess, and then he wants to do stuff in politics. He has a very...
It's definitely more noted in the book how
early on.
driven and ambitious Alex is.
Oh, the opening scenes of the book, so which aren't even in the film, because as the film starts, it's like the montage leading up, like news clips and stuff leading up to the wedding. We get 2 chapters in the book, one where he's on the the White House roof, and I can't remember what he finds. He finds something engraved in there about love, and it was something sweet. But then he's talking to June and Nora about, like, they're all very driven, ambitious people, this, like, trio of friends.
The White House trio, as
The
they
White House
refer
trio.
to in the media.
And they all want to do these different things and stuff, but you get a really good idea early on that, like, these are just really driven people, and, like, they're actually quite nice people as well, and they care for each other a lot. I like the banter between all the characters.
Yeah.
Like, they communicate really well. And I was kind of sad I didn't see that in the movie. I was like...
Maybe they felt like exploring Alex and Nora's relationship because they did date in the book. Like they did a bit more of a romantic history, and maybe they felt like it convoluted the story.
Maybe,
I think they toned down Alex's bisexuality
Totally.
a lot.
But it still comes up in the film.
It comes
you know what I mean?
up, but like in
I
the
know what
book,
mean.
I kind of love that scene where they're all in the photo book and he's kind of like appreciating everyone and
Totally,
he's like,
yeah.
this is actually really good being
Yeah,
bisexual.
it's not. I love everyone. I get all the hot people, no matter what gender.
Pretty much, yeah.
He's cracked the code, hasn't he, that old Alex? But that's the thing, like, it still comes, it comes up in the film, but it's a big part of his identity in the book. And so having that sort of toned down in the book, his bisexuality, in the movie, his bisexuality, but also his political aspirations and sort of just his driven character in general, because in the film, he just comes off as a smooth talking, smart Alec, kind of sometimes with a chip on his shoulder sort of guy.
Oh, definitely. He knows he's come from nothing and he's
he's willing,
it.
but they don't show like the work he's done to get, or even they don't really harp on the work that his mum's done to get there as well, and the sort of family, the loving family he's come from, which is funny again because in the book, the parents are divorced. So the president of the United States, played by Uma Thurman in the film, and the father is divorced. But I didn't know if they were in the movie.
I don't think so.
His dad's still in the White House at that point. They're chilling on the balcony.
I feel like they were together because yet again, in the book, the president's married this, this really rich. Yeah,
he's philanthropist
guy.
sort of dude. Yeah,
it's like he's a bit
Iron
random.
Man without the tech. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
pretty
He's a
much
bit random. Like didn't really miss him particularly.
No,
Like,
when
didn't really
and
add
I like the
anything.
actor Cliff Curtis Jr. I think he's a great actor, but like he just sort of pops up, and when he pops up, I was like, oh, cool. And then they have him
Oh wait,
and
do you mean
Alex.
the dad?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm talking about in the book. Like
Oh,
I
sorry.
didn't miss her random husband. Like,
No,
he's just kind of
he's
nothing.
just comes and goes. Whereas, like in the movie as well, he's kind of sort of random as well.
The
He's
dad.
like, yeah, I was like, oh, okay. While we're talking about her, President of the United States, Uma Thurman. What did you think about her in the film?
I'm kind of like thought she looked weird. Where I was like,
Yeah.
is that Uma Thurman? Like I haven't seen her in so long.
A while, yeah.
And then I'm just trying to think the last thing I saw her in, and I was like squinting at the screen. And I was
Like,
like,
is that Uma?
Is that Uma?
You would have been you wouldn't have been your confusion doesn't shock me based on the accent is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, you didn't love her accent. You didn't love the southern.
Didn't love the
Okay.
didn't love the accent and kind of like I was sitting there listening to it and I was like, this sounds like someone on Saturday Night Live doing a southern
skit.
accent. They're like, okay, so you're the first female president of the United States and you're from Southern Texas and you're trying to win over the voters and you have a bisexual son. Oh, I love my bisexual son and we're gonna be great one day. And like that's how it came across
It's
as
like
just
a
so
bit
over
hard
the
though,
top.
because in the book she does have a really heavy southern
does.
drawl.
I
So I'm like,
know,
I just
I
don't
know.
know like how
It
else
just
because like
wasn't
that's how
Uma. It just maybe not Uma.
Maybe it's not Uma. Yeah.
Maybe not Uma, but bless her for popping up and
What did you think of like the difference in the book of Alex coming out to his mother compared to the film? Did you find much of a difference? Because I
Yes.
yeah, like I
Yeah.
thought it probably was a bit more realistic in the book in the
Totally.
fact that she's like, I love you, you're my son, but like I've got a presidency to win. It's not the
Totally.
greatest time, and also this is like what we've got to be aware of.
It almost seems more thrown away in the film. Like it's
Yeah.
almost like she has the priority on the, like he comes out and then it's like, well, we're just going to keep this under wraps until the election's over.
In the movie, I think she makes a joke like, oh, I would have made a PowerPoint. But I think in the book, she literally actually does
No,
make
she literally does a
Yeah.
PowerPoint in the book
Yeah.
about why this relationship is
It's like-
detrimental to her election campaign.
It's like it's weird,
but it's like in a
'cause
loving
done,
way.
It's done in such like I accept you for who you are, but like we've logistically got to think about the
Like, let's just
it's-
think about what a gay scandal between the White House and Buckingham Palace would
Yeah.
look like for my election career. And the thing is, though, as like, I'm not a parent, and but I'd be like, I've worked so fucking hard to get into this White House. I'm
like we can't
I'm just
diminish
gonna-
her. Like, and also it's like it's not like he gave her any time to
work,
like if
like,
he'd
think
sort of
about
maybe
it
been
and sort of-
honest with her, they could have been a bit more strategic. 'Cause
Totally,
like
yeah.
it is like you don't like for it to break out. You got no time to damage control. Like
No,
you're
that's
on,
it.
It's
Especially when you're trying to win.
not that there should be
Texas.
damage control.
No, there
but
shouldn't be, but
there
in,
is
in
this
the real world. There is,
is.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to Texas, and where Senator Richards is from. When they're trying to win that, they're like, let's win them over and then show them, who we
Yeah.
are as a family, and
Yes.
sort of be like, it's okay. But obviously, it gets leaked beforehand.
all
Again,
their dirty emails because the
I mean,
emails
oh.
are, but they're so funny.
They
like,
are funny.
I love them. They're
there is
flirty.
some dirt.
They're
there is
flirty
some
fun.
They're flirty fun. They're a little
bits.
spicy.
Spicy.
They're a little spicy.
You love that word now, don't you?
I'm
You're like,
a
"That's
little
my new
addicted
word."
to the word spicy. I'm not going to lie to you. I think I've got to add a new word to the vocabulary to describe books that we read.
Yep.
Spicy. They do send some pretty fucking spicy stuff to each other. There is one scene in the movie where we kind of get a recap of texts we see and emails we see throughout the book, kind of like compressed into a montage. The only issue I have, and I love when filmmakers use that as a tool to be like, we know that throughout this 400-page book, there's like 15 different emails and text messages spread throughout. Let's condense them all, give the fans like the favorite spicy ones all in one scene. And we get the interactions between them in real life and they're texting each other and the text will pop up on screen. But Matthew Lopez, the director, uses a technique where they are in the same room together, but they're not talking to each other. So you know what I mean? Like Alex is still back in America, Henry's still in the United Kingdom, but they're in the same room talking the dialogue to each other. And I really like that tool that filmmakers use, but I like it when they actually interact with each other. Like they are actually talking to each other and the audience is smart enough to know they're not there. They awkwardly don't look at each other.
I know what you mean. He's like,
It was
like
a
Henry's
weird
walking
scene.
past him.
Yeah.
And I know what you mean.
And there was some cool shots with it, but I was kind of like, I felt like I was, and maybe this is just me, but I was just like paying a lot more attention to that.
Yeah.
Rather than like the spice that they were sending each other, more like getting lost in the lust-filled romance of it all.
Yes.
Maybe I was just in a
That
little
might be
bit of
your
a
film nerd brain.
That could be just ticking over, just being like,
I was that fixated. on
okay,
it,
fair
but-
enough. Fair enough.
That
Understood.
might be you, but
Maybe I need
knew
to watch
what
it
you
again
mean upon
to get
reflection.
that spice. Maybe
I've
I just
already watched it twice. So.
I can. It doesn't shock me, and I'm assuming it's going to get watched a lot more times between you and Riz.
Absolutely. We'll have to watch
well.
it together because we haven't
Oh,
watched
do you
it
haven't watched it together yet? Actually, yeah.
so
And we'll have to
do
double feature it with another film coming out.
Oh, stay tuned,
also
guys.
based on a book.
Oh.
Just putting that out there. Anyway. So we've jumped around it a little bit, and I want to come back to it as well with obviously the Raphael Luna in the book being part of the reason the stuff is leaked. And in the film, it's this journalist called Miguel, who as soon as Miguel pops up and he confronts Alex in a bar, Alex obviously knows he's a journalist, but we learn straight away from that first conversation that they hooked up once.
Yeah, and I'm like, you can do.
I was like, Alex, you can do like that. Struck me as a drunken sort of like, you're here,
He was just
you're
so
queer,
sleazy
let's do it.
and,
He was gross, man. Miguel is gross. Like, and that's props to the actor for being such a sleazeball journalist actor. But Miguel is obviously has like a fixation with Alex and like really likes Alex, and Alex is like, nah, that was a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Get over it. When that happened, I immediately turned around and went like, he's going to do something bad to them in the third act of the film. I was like, he's a journalist. He's been fucked over and he wants to make Alex feel bad for not making him feel good. I was like, something's going to happen from that.
And he already kind of fucked Alex over by Alex saying that throwaway comment, and then he published it about flipping Texas,
That's
which got them in the
right.
movie.
That's
like
right.
that got them in a bit of trouble.
And he got him in a lot of trouble in that, which all the trouble is dealt with by Zara, who I think is probably my favorite character in both the
she's
book and the
funny.
film. She was great in the film. Sarah Sahi, Sahi,
She
I
looks
believe.
really familiar to me.
So
what would I know her from?
you know her from something, because I did the exact same thing, and I was scrolling through IMDb to Rhiannon and I was like, oh, she was in Black Adam, she's in this, and Rhiannon's like, let me have a look, and she's like, you fucking idiot, and I was like, what? She's the main character in Sex Life.
You're kidding. She's Billy.
She's Billy from
She's
Sex Life.
Billy.
Yeah.
You're
Rhiannon's like, why didn't
kidding.
you say that first? And I was like, sorry.
Oh my
I haven't watched Sex Life.
gosh.
I've seen the scene. I've seen the dick scene, but that's about it.
Was it spicy?
Oh, it was. I was angry more than anything. I was mad. I was quite upset.
At the world.
I was just, and more so that Rhiannon was like, hey, look at this. And I was like,
You were like,
it's
I
just
didn't need to see it.
It's just a big dick. And then I just walked away like single tear in my eye. I was like, it is a big dick.
Is so crazy.
So Zara, who
what a relief.
she's a great actress. I love her very much. But the Zara that I was reading in the book, and her just the firm way she deals with Alex and June as well. But she's like one of those people who anyone else would see Alex as like hard to deal with. Like, she knows how to communicate with Alex, and she's like no mucking around when they have to send Alex back to the UK for the first time after the cake debacle, and she's like, here's his dossier, you have to read it, not taking any shit.
Yeah.
And tough love. And he's like, and I'm guessing he has one too. And she's like, yep. And that was the worst 6 hours of my life that I've ever spent putting. She's like, I wouldn't even call it,
sassy.
it's sassy, but it's like a real boss bitch sort of sass.
Yeah, it's good.
And Sarah Sahi is fucking great
Do you
in the
know
film.
what? I feel like female characters get such a hard time because it's like, it's hard to write them like that and be likable.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
because everyone
like,
just goes straight to bitch.
Yeah,
But I'm
exactly,
like,
but
no, I was like,
loved her.
I loved her. She's funny in the movie because of it as well. And she is the one keeping Alex in fucking line. But she does it in such a way that I'm like, I get it. Like, I get why you have to do this right now. I thought she was hilarious.
I loved when she, so that after the story breaks, both the White House and Buckingham Palace go on complete communication lockdown. So the boys can't talk, obviously very upset.
So sad. Less spice. Less spice.
So sad for everyone.
Sad
Sad
for
for them, sad for us. And then Zara goes, oh my God, you're just sulking so much. That's it. And she like pulls out her personal phone and calls Prince Henry's handler, whatever his name. What is the title? Can't remember.
Yeah.
Whatever. The guy who looks after him.
Yeah.
And Alex is like, how did you have his private number? And she's like, oh, we're fucking. Which actually,
was great,
in the book, it's her fiance, but I kind of liked it better in the movie.
I liked it better that they're just hooking up every time they have to do something there.
Yeah,
but again, it just adds to that classic Hallmark rom-com thing of like, of course they're fucking. Of course they are. And it just makes everything all the more sweeter. So big fan. Is there anything else you want to touch on? Anything else you want to break down?
One more thing that I really liked about the movie that was a change from the book was that in the book, Henry gives Alex his signet ring and Alex puts it on the keychain with his key.
Does, yes. But the key's very significant. Yeah.
In the movie, they swap.
Swap it.
And I just think that was nice.
Yeah,
like
that's
they just
sweet.
a bit gave each other a piece
I
rather than it feeling
like that.
so like one way.
That's that is sweet, isn't it? Because the key is what I can't even.
The keys to his old house in Austin, like his roots, going back to his grass roots.
He just doesn't forget where he came from.
That's right.
Bless Alex. No, that is sweet. No, I'd like that in the movie. Actually, that was a lot better as well.
And I also like Beatrice. Like I liked that. There was like all these more things about the royal family in the book. Like Beatrice had a cocaine addiction and was basically going to kill us. The powder princess, which I mean,
which was after their mum passed away. So like
dad.
Sorry, dad. Yeah, sorry, mum's still around. Queen's still around. In the book.
What's her name? Catherine.
That's right. Yeah.
Catherine.
Sorry. Yeah. So the dad passes away and she doesn't deal with it well, and we don't actually get a good idea of how Henry's sort of dealing with it as well in the film. But I think there's some dialogue between them before.
Like he says, like my dad, when he was rude to him the first time.
That's right.
And explains why he says my dad had just died and I just wasn't handling
That's right.
it. Yeah.
And then sort of Beatrice is just like very background in this film. We don't find anything
she's
about
just
her.
a bit like boring, like British princess, but she actually had substance abuse issues and Henry was there for her and she sort of reformed for him.
Yes, totally.
Like went to not AA.
Narcotics Anonymous or whatever it is.
For him to get better for him because he pleaded to her and they had such a close relationship and it was nice that Alex had such a close relationship with June. And then Henry had that close relationship with his sister and it was just really nice.
It's so well done in the book. And it's just again one of those things. The book's just fleshed it out really well. Yeah. But like wrapping it up, like what you said at the beginning, they're almost two very different entities. Yeah,
I just feel so differently about them.
It's almost like the movie was made to be like, now will entice you to watch the book. Whereas like I do think fans of the book, and if you're a fan of the Spice Reasons, you are going to get that.
I'm pretty rough with like adaptions. Like
totally,
I would say like if I
this is a great podcast for you to be.
yeah, exactly. But I was because you have to be realistic at the end of the day. It's like like as much as fans can go on about the Harry Potter movies. Yes, they're not perfect, but you can only physically fit so much.
Unless you want like a 6-hour movie.
Exactly. Which some things I would take.
Some things you would, and you know what? And some things don't all need to be like mini series as well. Like I wouldn't watch a red, white, and royal blue. Wow. Yeah. I really have to think hard when I'm saying that. I've used a lot of brain power on that. Red, white, and royal blue. I wouldn't watch that in a mini series. Whereas something like Normal People, because it's about a relationship over a certain amount, like a long time, that needs the mini series.
Yeah, like that
this is what? 6 months in their lives.
Yeah, I think it's
something like
ends up being
maybe
about
a year.
But yeah, I totally agree. It didn't need to be a miniseries.
No.
What they kept and what they changed for the most part, I can understand why and I enjoyed it.
It works.
Some characters got completely axed. Some didn't get their little moments. Like I do love that part when Henry's sort of saying, I'm not going to live by your traditions anymore and sort of has his big speech to the royal family. And Pip goes, oh, he's really brave or something like, because again, it sort of shows like Pip is a product of his upbringing, the pressures of him as an heir.
Yes.
And like, that's why he is the way he is. But he's like, he's just as scared
Bless him.
Being himself, like as Henry.
Totally, yeah,
just those little moments that you don't get.
That you don't get in the film, yeah.
Also, loved the cast. Loved the chemistry.
I wanted to ask about the chemistry because I thought the chemistry was really good between the two. didn't rate Henry's performance, and I have his name here. I should call him by his real name.
Do you know he's the one from Purple Hearts?
I did know that
blew up
retroactively. So Nicholas Gallatzine, I believe.
Okay, you didn't
love him.
Okay,
didn't love him.
Interesting.
And maybe it's just because, especially early on, it is so much energy versus no energy. And I think it's easy to get gravitated towards Alex's performance because it is ultimately Alex's story, right?
Yeah,
Book as well. It's very much Alex's story. All from his perspective. He's the driving force for a lot of the stuff. I don't know. There was just some scenes where I was like, and it wasn't necessarily the chemistry, because I think them together were great. It was like things happening outside of that. Okay. Like their kisses the kissing and the sex in this movie, I was like, oh, you guys are going for it. Like they are right? Yeah. Like it's exactly what you want from The Spice.
Yeah.
So that was believable. I was like, the actual sexual chemistry, I was like, kind of off the charts. Like these boys they're doing it right. Everything outside of that, I was like, you aren't amazing. But again, is it just because I was so gravitated to Alex? I was like, oh shit, you are forcing the spotlight onto yourself, sort of thing. So maybe that's how.
Yeah, and I think that, like in the books, Henry is a bit more reserved, and
that's very true.
He is a bit more subtle, and like that's joked about. And also, you think about the differences in an English personality to an American personality.
That's very true. Yeah.
Very different cultures.
The culture clashing,
completely different. What I did like about the actor was I really felt there's this one particular scene where he leaves the room and he kind of gives Alex this look early on, and they're hooking up like, you're going to be the ruin of me. It says it all with a look.
Yeah,
and me and my sister rewound it about 20 times and switched over and over again.
They got it.
And I was like, that was well done. And like, if the chemistry between them is good, I feel like that's the main thing that made the movie a success.
That's 90% right of it, right? And that's the thing. Yeah. Like, again, a movie that's not trying to be anything more than this absurdly heightened rom-com.
Yeah.
Completely fine.
Yeah.
And the dramatic, and in saying that, just because it's a rom-com doesn't mean it has to be laugh out loud funny the whole time. It still needs its emotional climax. We still need to care about everyone. And the movie does that.
I chuckled though.
Oh, I thought I had some good laughs as well. Yeah. When oh my gosh, something when they go in the hospital, when they're in the hospital and they get pushed into the closet because they think they hear gunshots, and the security, the chick kicks the door open again and she shouts like threat neutralize. And they were like, what the hell do you mean neutralize? Like, did you kill him? Like, I don't know. We just arrested him.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and wasn't it even just a kid playing like
it was
a
just
prank
a kid
or something?
playing a prank or something. They find out it's a kid. Then she goes threat neutralize. They're like, what? And so there's some chuckle-worthy moments.
Yeah, and just their banter and stuff.
Their banter is great. In the book, their banter is good though as well. So
I will say this about the book. There were some moments, I can't exactly pinpoint where, that I did feel like it was dragging on.
Yep.
Did you get that at all?
I got it in both, to be honest, in book and movie.
Okay, that's interesting. I felt the movie was more snappy. In the book, I was kind of like, okay.
The movie is, totally snappier, and like for the reasons you were saying, it's because like actually a lot of shit was cut out. But there were parts, especially after, for me, everything from when they first, I guess you would call it like make love, the scenes like when they actually have like passionate sex with each other, up to the re-election or like the relationship getting outed just was a bit stale for me. So Alex is coming out, like, because I just think it was done better in the book.
Yeah.
The conversations he's having with his dad, which again, we didn't really need for the movie. Even though it's still a snappier movie, I feel like it probably could have cut even another 10, like 15 minutes out of that little section and been like,
I can see what you mean.
Be like 100 minutes, real snappy, real rewatchable. Like that's
it's rewatchable for me still, but also,
and
you know
probably
what?
for the millions of people watching it on Amazon, to be honest. So
yeah, I'm going to give that to you though.
Hey, thanks, man. I need a win. I need a fucking win on this episode.
Well, talking about our final decisions.
Talking about wins.
I didn't even know driving here what I was going to say, but I think our conversations.
Okay, yeah.
Do you want to go first?
No. You know what, Georgia? This is your pick. What do you think was better? Ladies first. Chivalry isn't dead. Your pick for this month, red, white, and royal blue. What was better, the book or the film?
I think in terms of getting to know the characters and the general layers, I'm going to have to go with the book.
Yeah.
But I will say, would I read the book again? Probably not. But would I watch the movie again? Yes. So what does that mean?
What does that mean? It means.
What does that mean though?
It means you like the spice.
Or is it
Georja
is
Malt.
it a tie?
That's what
Maybe can we do a tie though?
it could be. Hey, you know what?
We've never done a tie before.
It's our show. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
Okay.
We make our own
Maybe
rules.
we can only get 3 ties.
3 ties in the existence of the show.
Yeah, and this could go on for the rest of our lives.
This could be. Imagine us 90.
a lot of books and a lot of
You're like
movies.
90 and you're like, I have to use my last tie.
last tie.
I'm probably here in a wheelchair. I'm probably a skeleton by that point. But like,
I'll
the
still
show,
talk to you.
The show goes on.
I'll wheel you out.
Ray would probably, if that was me at 90, at being a skeleton doing this show, literally not talking random, would still find a way to be like, why are you always trying to be the star of the show, Nick? Why are you saying so much?
Yeah,
Shut up.
She would just want me to talk.
If Rhiannon had her way, this show would just be Georgia. And I'd just be sitting here going,
That's great, Georgia. You're
that's
so
great.
smart and clever.
Yeah, that's Rhiannon's writing. I've got a teleprompter of compliments for you from Rhiannon.
So I'm going to use one.
Okay, so it's a tie.
Yeah, I've got 2 left.
Unprecedented. So you've shocked me twice in 2 months with choosing the Fight Club movie,
I'm a
and now
woman
it's
of
like,
mystery.
I don't know what's coming next from you, Georgia Malt. Oh my days.
Wait, what was that? What did I shock you with?
Fight Club, you chose the movie was better.
Oh, yeah. Oh, did you think I was going to pick the book?
I have no idea. I mean, you've just picked a tie. I don't know what to think anymore. I'm shocked, but it makes for great television. I think I liked the book more.
Wow.
I liked Red, White, and Royal Blue, the book more. Mainly because
That takes a strong man to
it
say
takes
that.
you know what? This is a real vulnerable moment for old Mickey Boy right now. I actually really enjoyed the story a lot more. Don't get me wrong. I totally understand why people love the film. And there is nothing better than a decent rom-com, like meet cute love story with some spicy scenes that can win over the world.
Yeah.
I totally get it. Like you said, 50 Shades, not necessarily rom-com, but like you have like the basic foundations and add the spice, you got it. Like that's
true.
365
It's a winner.
days, like, you know,
Yeah.
all of them. Red, White, and Royal Blue is probably the 50 Shades for the gay community, right? But it's nicer. It's actually a lot nicer.
It's a lot nicer.
It's a lot nicer.
And it's a lot more like the relationship has a lot more substance.
Totally.
Yeah.
But the movie to me,
But
I
in
feel
terms of like phenomenon and like and
Oh,
reach and
God,
like
yeah.
I know, and adoration. I know what you mean. It's like that's kind of the
Totally.
parallel.
But the movie for me is I could interchange it with anyone. Like I could change those characters and I feel like I'd still get the same sort of movie. Whereas I think the book at least feels a little bit more unique to me.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, and that's why I tied. But
it's tough though,
this
right?
is the thing. I can't take back the screams I let out in my living room when they made out. I can't erase that.
I know
That
this is a real
happened.
thing because I've heard you and Rhiannon watch. Well, actually, even saying that, we've watched the after movies together, and I get what that's like when Harden kicks in a door and starts making out with Tessa.
You scream.
You scream.
It's a reaction from
I've been
deep in my
converted to a
soul.
screamer too. I went from not loving the first after movie to somehow having a whole podcast series dedicated to this yearly.
And being one of its biggest fans.
I'm literally an advocate for
Anticipating
after.
the release and sending trailers to me and Rhiannon.
October 6th on Amazon Prime. Why do I know that? Because I love it. So I would put Red, White, and Royal Blue in that similar camp of the movie hasn't won me over to be like distinguishable from the other movies
It's
like
not
it.
going to be in your top 10 rom-coms of all time
It's not.
either or anything.
But I get why people love it.
Yeah.
But I did love the book more.
Yeah, I like
just
them both for different reasons.
Different reasons.
And
Now-
I'll just have to use my time.
I didn't say this earlier and I should have said it. My caveat would be though, because I won't read this ever again.
Yeah.
I didn't love the way it was written. I felt it felt very, like the actual style of writing felt tabloidy to me. It felt like it was quickly written, I might say. Like it felt like I was having a conversation with like a Kardashian about this book, and it was a Kardashian recollecting the events to me. You know what I mean?
I kind of feel like
Basic
it was done
bitch?
like
Is
that.
that the wrong way? Is that the right
It's
term?
not going to win the Man Booker Prize or
Don't want to
anything.
offend anyone.
Well, it's
but
not going to win the Man Booker Prize or anything.
I don't even know
but
what that is. So
Well, it's
this big.
Big.
That's big. Hey, big. That's big.
in the book
Hey,
world.
whoa.
The biggest, the Oscars.
Oh, shit. The Oscar
Oscars
for
of
books.
the book world. It's not going to win that.
Right, okay.
But I think it knows its audience. Like, if you're going to pick this...
I can't get mad at it for doing that.
If you're going to pick this up, you're not wanting to think that hard.
No,
like, you're just wanting
no.
a sugary, sweet, little...
It's just a
imagine
criticism
if I
of
connected with
taste.
someone that way.
That's what it is. Like, this is coming from me who just read, like, a psychopath's manifesto last month of, like, the most incomprehensible writing in Fight Club.
It's not dangerous writing.
It's not whoa. Not dangerous. Not dangerous enough for me. Careful, red, white, and royal blue. But, like, that's the thing. Like, I wouldn't choose. It's the same as like reality TV for me. It's like I wouldn't choose to watch it unless it catered to me.
So interesting that the love of your life is literally would just watch reality TV.
I know for a fact she had a sick day a few weeks ago and binge watched all of F-Boy Island in like 2 days.
Yeah.
And she was proud of that. And bless her, I love her to pieces, but bless her. Whereas I'm like, but then again, if reality TV caters to me, I'm all for it. So if I read a book that was like real schlocky, like you said, knows its audience, but was about like rugby league players, I'm like, fuck yeah, it's the best book ever written. No one could ever and then I'd try and make the movie myself and we could cover it on the show. And maybe I've just found a new dream and aspiration in my life.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's exciting.
To make the schlocky rugby film.
Don't watch it. They'll all die of terminal cancer.
Yeah,
that's in the end, the whole team.
Hey, it'd be a twist that you would see coming.
Oh, sorry. I just got an email.
It's listening.
I'm really busy, guys.
We're super busy. We got a lot going on, but we had plenty of time to read this and watch the film. So it's a tie and the book. So I guess by default, the book wins.
I guess, yeah.
But and that's one of 3 ties used. The new rule we just made up for the show.
The stakes are getting higher. The budget's getting bigger.
The spice has changed us. We've become, it's almost like we're post spice now. We're laying in the spice bed with the cigarette and we're like, there's no fucking rules anymore. We're just happy. That's what this movie made me feel like.
I was very torrid.
But if you want more torrid chat like this, if you jump over to the monthly movie marathon podcast with myself and Peter Gray and listen to the after episodes, this is PG compared to that.
Honestly, if you want more, that's the place.
I think I have said the phrase genital clapping in one of those episodes.
That was I'm going to get that on a shirt.
New merch on the way. Genital clapping t-shirts. But let's not plug other shows. Let's talk about this show. So that's another book done for this month. The Spice has sent us crazy. And look, it's a cult. Like I said, books are cultural form. Book Talk love it. Movie Talk love the movie at the moment. I think it deserves all the songs of praise.
Yeah, me too.
Coming towards
Loved it.
It would not shock me if Amazon like released a number and be like, it was the most watched thing of the year so far on Amazon. So, but now we are done with this book. We should move on to what we're going to do for September.
Another surprise for me.
Another surprise for Georgia.
What is it? Oh, you're rubbing your hands like maniacally. Like really?
No, look, it's definitely. I'm not going to say there's a romance aspect to this book. It's not a romantic book. However, the movie that this book is based on is regarded as one of the best films ever made. It wasn't necessarily a box office success.
Wait,
when
it's not going to be The Godfather. Stop it.
It's not.
Oh, thank God.
Really scared you there for a sec. 3 hours long, 600 pages, and you have a few weeks to read it. That's more of a challenge for me. I'd be putting myself under pressure there. Didn't perform well at the box office, but was one of the first VHS tapes to like be very widely successful. To a very popular author called Stephen King. And the book is Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, which was adapted into The Shawshank Redemption.
You know, this is going to be really interesting because I love the movie.
I love the movie too. It's an all-time favorite. But I think because when we first started the show, we were talking about what do we do? Do we do novellas? And I think we've had enough close adaptations that it's like, let's do something that is quite widely different. Like what is... Because I've never read Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption, and it's only about 100 or so pages long. So it's it's a novella from Stephen King, but then it's adapted into this 2.5 hour drama.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested to break it down with you.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited.
That's what we're doing next month on The Book Was Better.
Great.
How bloody exciting. So you can find that episode and this one. And if you're listening to this, you've already found it. So Good for
Good
you.
job.
Great work. 5 stars for you. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcasts, everywhere. I can't every time. It's going to get a shout out every time. Please subscribe and obviously like the video and let us know if you've watched Red, White, and Royal Blue. And if you enjoyed it, and if you read the book, and if you enjoyed it, in the comments of the YouTube section below. But Georgia, where can everyone find you on the internet?
Yes, just head to Instagram and you can find me at withgdigital.
And I'm at nicksflicksfix.
No, you can't. That's not it.
No, it's not because it's withg.co.
It is. I was testing you.
I know.
And you passed.
I passed the test. So don't look at With G Digital on Instagram. Completely different account. Way worse. Doesn't read as many books.
No.
Withg.co and nicksflicksfix on Instagram. And you'll find all the links to all the show notes. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks, guys. See you then.